Willkommen, this is Julia.
And this is Shane. And this is Think Plant-Based. Think Plant-Based. Make sure to check out recipes, health tips, travel tips at www.thinkplantbased.com.
And we're officially on iTunes, so please rate and write us a review on iTunes.
Write us a review. Give us 2 stars, 3 stars, maybe 5 stars. Let us know.
For sure, 5.
Yeah, I mean, who would give us 2 stars anyways,
yeah.
Right? But yeah, make sure to do that because that's how we get found.
Yeah, I remember like last year when I flew to Germany, I was like thinking, what should I take? Any plant-based products, on the flight.
So what'd you do?
Well, I had this Nomad product, remember? I got from the flavor was shepherd's pie.
Oh, from Plant Life Nutrition, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I bought it there and yeah, that was really helpful.
Yeah, because no one likes airplane food, right?
Not really. Sometimes hit and miss.
Yeah, but luckily we have the owner of Nomad. How's it going?
Hi, Dennis.
Hey. Dennis.
Hi, good morning. Hi, everybody.
Glad to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me here.
Awesome. Tell the listeners more about yourself, please.
Yeah, so Nomad Nutrition is the company that I founded in January of 2017. And it is a culmination of a lifelong pursuit of wild places and good food. I'm an avid rock climber and an alpinist. And I spent years looking for the best dehydrated fuel, the best dehydrated food for expeditions, for overnight treks, for camping, for travel. During the time that I would train for an alpine ascent or a rock climbing expedition, nutrition played a huge part in the training. As most people know, what you put into your body has a direct correlation to your cognitive ability, your physical ability, your emotional ability, and everything in between, right? So it's fuel for the body, right? And that's when, I started to experiment with different, dietary disciplines. Nothing political. There's no statements there, but just what is healthy and what works for my body. And there's a lot of experimental phases that I went through. So the first thing I started doing was trying a vegetarian diet. Then I tried going just pescatarian, or paleo. Then I tried going vegan, and I knew that gluten dairy wasn't really agreeing with my digestive system. So I went kind of like raw vegan. I did that for a while and it worked really, really well for athletic pursuits, especially for explosive, rock climbing type of, activity. Right. So through that, it was a great combination between, hiking, camping, alpinism and nutrition, and those two things are so intertwined in my life that, there was a moment when I was on an expedition and I had, the typical dehydrated food you buy at your local outdoor store or nutrition store. And it was just wreaking havoc on my digestive tract. And I thought I was always the only one, but I'm not. A lot of people do suffer. And if you've ever been in a crowded tent with somebody who's going through indigestion all night, your nose, your nose is out the window, right? So
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Right. And then multiply that by a few days, right? So,
ouch.
So it's not fun for anybody, and most of us have been there, and it's embarrassing and all sorts of things. And I started researching into, so we spend so much time and money on nutrition in the city. People are buying like $12 cold pressed juices, and doing all these things and all the nootropics and all these like pill and additives and all this stuff. So there's a lot of money being spent in the city, but when you get into the backcountry, when you're going backcountry travel, when you're out there, the nutrition starts to fall through the cracks and you'll grab whatever's available.
So true.
So I started looking into that, and I started looking into dehydrated food in particular because that's what I was consuming on expeditions, and that's pretty much the only thing you can consume, because it doesn't go bad, right?
Right.
Started looking into the back of the packaging and the nutritional facts and on the ingredient deck, and you start to see that there's a lot of additives, preservatives, and chemicals being added to preserve the food, which is the leading cause of a lot of the indigestion for a lot of folks. So I said, okay, well, what's out in the market that is all natural? What is on the market that is organic? What is on the market that has no chemical additives? What is on the market that has an ingredient deck that you can pronounce and every ingredient on the deck? And the list started going down to zero. and just like any entrepreneurial story that you most likely heard before, I said to myself, you know what? If it's not out there, I'm going to do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And that's how I got started. So in January of 2017, the idea was already born, and it's one of those ideas that just kind of started to burn a fire in my head, and I couldn't think of anything else except for what later became Nomad Nutrition. And when we launched the company, we just launched a website, an online website, www.nomadnutrition.co. .com, .co. It's the new way of doing websites. Right. And we launched an Instagram account, and literally the first 10 posts was either me camping or an inspirational mountain backdrop with some sort of quote, and nothing special. That's what I'm trying to say. I said to myself, if we get 50 units sold or pre-order sold in the month of January, I'm actually going to do this business, because otherwise, I don't know.
Right.
Fast forward, end of January, and we got about 64, 65 units sold. And I said to myself, okay, now I actually have to do this.
You're
okay.
like, crap, I got to do this now.
Yeah, right.
I actually have to deliver on my promises, right?
Yeah.
Totally. I got to do it. Nice.
So, that first batch, I spent, before, and just back up 1 second, right before launch, I spent about 3 months researching dehydration methods, researching into what are the best nutrient packed meals for dehydration and for alpinism and expeditions.
Right.
And that started to build the kind of the foundation and the pillars of the company. And so then again, fast forward to the end of January, the first batch, I did it in my own home kitchen on the countertop dehydrator.
Nice.
The whole house smelled. My roommate at the time hated me. The kitchen was a mess, and I quickly and it took a whole month to do those 65 units. And
Wow.
I quickly realized, this is no way to start a business. There's no way you can feed thousands and thousands of people all across Canada and the United States. This is just not good business.
Right.
So from there, we kept going, we kept, selling more units, and I started to expand. And just like a lot of entrepreneurs who are kind of getting started in an industry that they've never been in before, because my background is in software. So I switched my life around for food and for nutrition, and very happy to have done so. So we kept building it, and I kept going from, renting a couple hours in a commercial kitchen, then a couple of days, then a couple of weeks, then, a few months, and it just kept going to the point where last year, so we're only about 2 years old. And last year I decided to build my own factory. So what makes Nomad Nutrition different from all the other products and competitors on the market is that we do everything in-house. We have a chef that cooks from scratch all of our meals, and everything is dehydrated in-house as well. And we have the world's most innovative dehydration technology called RevDry. And discovering this technology has been a breakthrough for Nomad Nutrition. And we just became the prime example of a company within a low-tech industry, which is food. Typically, it's low-tech. And we have successfully leveraged the most innovative new technology to our advantage in order to pull ahead of everybody else. And the boldness of what I've done, literally second year of going, doubling down and building a factory, is very innovative. And I think anybody who tries the food will see, feel, and taste the difference. And the difference is in the food. At the end of the day, it has to smell like real food. It has to taste like real food. It has to look like real food, and it has to please people like real food does. And that is, at the end of the day, that's what we are after. We want to make sure that everybody has really, really good experience with our meals. And the fact that it's, shelf stable for 3 years and it cooks in 10 minutes is just a great bonus.
It is. Yeah. You have like so many good factors, I really like that. It's a very unique, because when you look at other like products in Walmart or something, right?
Yeah.
Like these noodle
it's like the new
cups.
Fast food almost, right? The healthy alternative of fast food, right?
And so practical, right? You just need hot water. That's what I liked about when I was at my flight, just had to ask for hot water, and I was traveling lighter too, because the product is quite light, to put in your backpack.
We started out as, a sports nutrition company or for rock climbers and alpinists and athletes. But what you're talking about is exactly we get a lot of emails from folks saying, "Hey, can I take this on a trip? Like, can we get this in the airport, or can I take this on my carry-on?" And the answer is, you can totally take one of our meals with you, with your carry-on, take it out during lunch, half hour on the flight, and ask the flight attendant for some hot water, and you will be the envy of everybody on board.
Totally.
Yeah.
Nice.
The aromas, like the taste, the smell, and the great thing about our meals is because they're light on your digestive tract. When you are in a pressurized cabin, there's some differences in your digestive tract. So having a meal that is filling and healthy, but also doesn't block anything, is really, really important, especially on an international flights when you're sitting there for like 9 hours, right?
Right, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to Berlin here on Friday, so we better grab
wonderful.
some. And
Yeah, right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. We need to be well prepared. And it's so nutrient rich too. I like that there's the protein, and the minerals and the vitamins, everything. Like, there's so many factors you really look at, and there's so much passion, I feel like, in the products you have, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, my is one of those moments, me being in the software industry beforehand and now in physical products, I'm doing exactly what I was meant to do. A lot of times when I was in software and speaking to clients, I would call them up and say, "Hey, so how do you like the software?" The answer was always like, "I don't care. It works somewhere in the background, and that's it.
Yeah.
Why are you calling me?" Versus now, whenever we are doing a demo at a festival, or whenever we're at a local store, and I see people's eyes light up after having a first bite of Nomad meal and saying, "Wow, this is actually good." That interaction and that reaction makes the whole day, the whole month, the whole year worthwhile. And I'm super, super happy to be doing this. And just another point on the RevDrive technology, because we have the most innovative technology and it's really quick and it's the most eco-friendly on the market, we have been creating some really, really cool stuff. We've created instant quinoa. that just by accident, we said, hey, can we dehydrate quinoa and will it rehydrate really quickly? Don't know. Let's try it. Okay, we did, and it worked, and it's incredible.
It's game changer. As quinoa is already pretty quick, you can make it even 3 times quicker.
All you do is add hot water. Same principle. Add hot water. Wait 10 minutes, and you get hot quinoa, and you don't need to boil it, which is really cool. We've also created banana marshmallow. So, typically when you dehydrate bananas, like raw bananas, they become like chips and they become brown and they kind of, they're very tough to eat.
Right.
So we've dehydrated with our technology, with our Rev Dry technology, and you literally get a banana that looks exactly like a banana. And we cut them into like little bites. And they're spongy like a marshmallow. And they're soft and they're very sweet and it's 100% banana. There's nothing else in it.
Wow.
That's cool.
That's
really cool.
Quite invention. That's cool. So I guess you don't use an Excalibur then, right? Like as dehydration process, right?
So
it's like a different dehydrator.
Yeah, so if I may speak on, I'll geek out a little bit on the technology part. As you can tell, so me being in software, I'm a bit of a geek. When we were starting out, and that was part of what makes us different is that, I started looking at the industry, the dehydration industry, and there's predominantly 2 methods to dehydrate food. The first method is called classic dehydration. This is kind of like your prehistoric method of drying. The Neanderthals cut open a fish and they place it on a hot rock and it just dries under the sun, right? And that's just classic low heat. And today we have, Excaliburs, like you just mentioned, and tabletop dehydrators that produce a low heat, kind of like an oven in a sense, but just with low heat. And over time, product and the food just dries. Typically, it takes a very long time to dehydrate. We're talking about something between 8 to 36 hours, right?
Yeah, you've been raw vegan. You've probably done it
so many times.
Yeah.
And typically, the downside is that because the food is not pressurized, there's denaturization. So a lot of the nutrients get denaturized by the heat, and the food turns a little bit brown, turns a little bit hard, and it doesn't have this kind of like naturalness to it. The other method, which is the kind of the de facto new method of drying, is called freeze dry. So freeze drying was invented in 1950s, and what it does, it uses the method of sublimation, which is skipping from a solid to a gas. And what you do with freeze drying is you freeze the food on these big trays to like minus 30 and minus 40 degrees, and then you slowly start heating the bottom. And what happens is that the first thing that melts and evaporates is the water. So basically, you're taking out the water. You're converting the water from a solid ice to a vapor, and the freeze drying just kind of sucks out the vapors, leaving nothing but the food, which is dried without water.
Right.
What ends up happening with this method, which is it's a step up from classic dehydration, and the nutrition value is quite better. But what ends up happening is that when water freezes, it expands, right? You know this, right? The water expands. And what ends up happening is that when the water freezes inside food, it ruptures the cell walls of let's say, your peppers, your red peppers. And when the peppers, then you put the peppers back in water, you end up having this kind of soggy, kind of wilted looking pepper.
Right.
And a lot of times you can tell whether or not something is freeze dried because it kind of has this like spongy kind of muted color. They usually like the colors of peppers become, from red to kind of off pinkish, and they're kind of spongy to the taste until you add water. And then there's the third method. It's called REV, and which it's an acronym stands for radiant energy in a vacuum. So the other way of doing things is to kind of, it's best of both worlds. So what Rev does is it reduces the atmospheric pressure. So it pressurizes the food in a chamber. And by doing so, you are decreasing the boiling point of something from 100 degrees down to like 30. And what you can do is you can apply very low amount of heat, we're talking about 10, 15 degrees Celsius, and that would almost bring the product to a boiling point. And at the same time, you have something that sucks out the vapors. So by the radiant energy actually naturally takes out the water particles. It separates the water particles from the hydrogen and the oxygen and gets it out of the cell walls gentler without breaking the cell wall. So what you end up having is a pepper that is just as crunchy as it was with water, but without water, just as colorful, just as red, just as nutritious as it was before the process. We have 0.05 or less % loss of nutrition. So almost nothing.
That's
wow, that's a great method. Yeah,
so unique.
Great invention.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was invented here in Canada at UBC and perfected out of University of British Columbia. And we found these guys, and now we are the exclusive producers of dehydrated food in North America using this method.
Wow.
Genius.
That's great. When did you switch to a plant-based lifestyle, and when did you know like there's no going back to the other way of eating? That's it.
You know what? It was when I was there was a part of my life when I was training fairly rigorously for rock climbing trips, and I needed something to kind of give me that extra edge. I'm not the strongest, not the fastest, not the most agile, but I knew that with nutrition, I could get some extra kick. So I have a fairly funny story, and I saw this. I saw this climber out of Australia, and we were training in the same gym. And this guy, I am telling you that I thought this guy was on crack cocaine. He was always energetic. He always climbed an hour or 2 hours past beyond everybody else. So he had stamina like no other. And he was incredibly positive and outgoing and just telling everybody, just talking. I'm like, man, this guy must be on 10 coffees a day or something. Like, what's going on? So I asked him like, well, like, what do you do for training? He kind of said, not kind of, like, hey, I'm raw vegan. It's incredible. Makes you lighter, stronger, faster. And I said, okay, I got to try this. So I was already a vegetarian at the time. And I said, okay, I'm going to go raw vegan. And it was a fairly tough transition. Mm-hmm. It took a little bit of time to get used to it. For young, I think I was 24 at the time, 24, 25. And when all your friends and it was summer, so when your friends are all going to pubs and bars and they're eating burgers and beers and and I was gluten free at the time, right? So I was raw vegan and gluten free, right? So really limiting my consumption.
Yeah.
I had to kind of give up on that side of having fun. But on the other hand, I remember like waking up and like literally backflipping out of bed and running to work. I would just jog to work because I felt so light. I felt so alive. I felt radiant. And that's what I knew. I'm like, there's like, if I feel like this, I think it was like maybe 3 months in. And if I feel like this 3 months in, what is my life going to look like 10 years, 15, 20 years down the road?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, I went on the raw journey before too, and it's a great experience, and it cleanses your body too, and you are more aware of what you want to ingest, right? Like, there's so much processed foods, right? You're going to be aware of and you just eat healthier, hopefully, in the future, right?
Yeah, I do recommend everybody to do a reset and of what they put into their body, and then start eating the same stuff they were eating before, and see, and like and listening to your gut. I know it sounds woo-woo or whatever.
I like that.
Yeah.
But
your gut tells a lot.
It does.
It will immediately tell you if this is good for you or not. Like, you don't need a doctor or somebody on YouTube telling you what to eat. Like, literally, like, you don't eat, like, reset. Don't eat burgers for a month or 3, and then have a burger and see what happens.
Yeah.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You'll feel it, I'm sure.
Exactly, yeah. So, Dennis, where do you see your business going in the future? Like, do you have any big plans?
Is your factory in Vancouver as well? Or is it?
It is. Our factory's in Vancouver, and where we're going next. So we, in terms of on the business side, we see half of our customer base is in the United States. And, we've already expanded across Canada through retail partners such as MATTHEW Co-op, and some other local independent stores. But where we're seeing is definitely United States. We'd love to expand to Europe. So Berlin has a lot of vegans.
Bring some to Berlin and we can.
Yeah.
Berlin has a lot of vegans, a lot of outdoor stores. So we'd love to be there as well. But my vision is to not only help folks with their nutrition and diet in the outdoor space or the travel space, but also in the NGO space. So anybody who's either trapped or currently residing in refugee camps. Those people are being fed, but who knows what they're being fed, right? Like some sort of
cheap stuff.
Everybody, I deserve that. I think that everybody in the world deserves healthy, nutritious food. And that is my long-term vision, is to help with supplying, displaced people around the world, with our meals, because it's perfect. You don't need a kitchen. All you need is hot water.
Right.
And then my maybe bigger vision, it's called my big, hairy, audacious goal, is my BHAG, and everybody should have one. My BHAG is to supply the first space mission to Mars with Nomad food.
Wow.
Whoa.
And maybe even the second one.
Yeah. For sure. That's great.
Well, Elon Musk already, right? So
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, yeah, that's his name.
So if any of your listeners know Elon, just connect us, please.
All right. We'll make sure to do that for you. Definitely.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So where can the listeners find you, and where can they find your delicious Nomad Nutrition on the go?
Yeah, if the listeners are from Canada, you can find us in every major city across Canada, through our retailer partner, MATTHEW Co-op, or on their website, www.mec.ca. Or you can always find us on our own website and purchase meals right there and then, and we ship worldwide.
Perfect.
Our website is www.nomadnutrition.co. We're also on Amazon, so you can find us on amazon.ca and amazon.com if you want to save on some shipping.
Yeah, definitely. That's where everyone shops these days, Amazon. So it's great to have it there.
Definitely. Yeah. Wow.
And for just to mention, for a list of all of our other retailers and if to find something in your area in North America, just visit our website and we have a store locator page.
Oh, perfect.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so great. You have everything that people need,
Everything they need.
Thank you.
Exactly. Such a great niche, Like keep on doing what you're doing, You're such a great inspiration. You're doing
Thank you so much.
And
a shameless plug. If you want to be inspired, please visit our Instagram page. It's at Nomad Nutrition Co. All one word. And same thing on Facebook. We have some great communities on Instagram and Facebook. And you'll see some really cool photos.
Perfect. Nice. Yeah, we'll put it up in the show notes so people can take a look.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks for your time.
Thank you. Great talking to you about new technology and the world, the future. Really.
Exactly.
Thank
Like your food is so futuristic in a way, you know.
Yeah.
It's so great.
But in a natural way.
In a natural
Yeah,
way.
exactly,
In
right?
a healthy way. Futuristic, healthy, for sure.
Totally. Still digestible, you know. So
Yes.
yeah, awesome. Okay, well, enjoy
Thank you.
the rest of your day, and we talk to you soon.
Talk soon. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.